Welcome to the Yoga Nation, the Spirit of Gratitude podcast on the One Integration platform. Hello, friends. My name is Yogesh Patel, and this podcast explores the themes of bullying, self-awareness, and the power of our inner spirit, including the silent battles we all face. Join me every week as I invite high-profile guests as we explore how adversity shapes us, how gratitude lifts us, and how we can all uncover the inner strength that we all have within ourselves. Join the conversation. I appreciate you listening in.
And today, my next guest is Stephany Poe, a business coach, author, and a proud mom who worked in everything from construction to law. She guides teams and leaders to work better together by improving how they communicate, care for themselves, and lead with heart. With 5 degrees under her belt, including a master's in law from Arizona State University, Stephany blends real-world wisdom with a little astrology, calling out things like toxic workplaces, lazy stereotypes, and why AI will never replace the sexiness of human connection. Today, she gives us insights into these topics. And with gratitude, welcome to the podcast, Stephany.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here.
Oh, I'm grateful that you were able to come on the podcast.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Mississippi, and how'd you end up in Arizona?
Oh, man. I was born and raised in Mississippi. I spent a good portion of my years as a kid, right, in Mississippi, in a small town, not on the coast, not Biloxi, basically in the sticks, northern Mississippi, and family here. My mom wanted to move out west, and so naturally we moved out west, but we went to Cali first.
Okay.
We went to Blythe, California first.
There's nothing there.
Oh my goodness, but I had no idea because it was a complete culture shock. The trees, it was something about the trees. It still kind of gets me to this day, believe it or not, that are so different as it compares to Mississippi. And so I moved out here basically because of family. My mom wanted to be here. And it's an adjustment, big adjustment, going from super country where it's about 25 minutes to the nearest grocery store, maybe 45 minutes to a hospital, all the way to getting over here. Takes you a few minutes to get to the nearest store.
Right.
Or the nearest grocery store, so you're fine. So it was a big adjustment, but...
was that when you were little or in your teenage years that you
Even
moved?
in my teenage years.
Okay.
And then I spent some teenage years here in Arizona and California as well.
So primarily your roots are from Mississippi?
Yes, and I go home quite a bit. I make sure I am always connected back home with my family because I have a large family in the South.
Okay.
So I make sure I stay connected, and I love going home and visiting family. It's nothing like soul food, but that's just me.
Well, I'm sure that's part of your makeup when it comes to self-awareness and the inner spirit.
Yes, my foundational roots, we are very much grounded in integrity, at least how my family raised me, how I grew up. You take responsibility for whatever it is you put out there. If you do something, you own it. You don't run away from it. That's yours, basically. It's yours to own.
You think that's common sense.
You think that, but in today's world, common sense isn't all that common.
Right.
And I think that's the challenge. We are struggling with trying to figure out what is common sense and what isn't, and what should be is not, and what is not should be. I know that's a little tongue twister, right?
Yeah.
But common sense isn't all that common. And we're in a different world, in a different time where people are really more in tune with their feelings, who they are.
Yes.
It may be...
And that's a good thing.
It is a great thing.
Yeah.
But we still have to live in reality. And the reality is that, people hurt our feelings. And the reality is things do happen that are not appropriate, or that's crossing an ethical line, or that's breaking a policy, or that's breaking something. It's something that's impacting people. And if we don't stop to realize what that impact is, we're going to repeat it. And those aren't my words, right? I think Winston Churchill said something about, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I can't do him justice, but the past is bound to repeat itself.
Right.
If we do not learn from it, we're doomed.
Is that something that you find in workplace cultures?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I find that people are definitely repeating the 1925 era. And I say that because that was
100 years ago.
The industrial era. I was having a conversation with another person, and that person is in the HR field. and he'd asked me my opinion on HR. And I said, well, HR is a function, not a person.
Right.
And there are people who work within that function. And that phrase, HR is not your friend, I asked him, have you heard of that? And he said, yeah, I've heard of
Mm-hmm.
it. And I said, well, considering you know what that phrase is or what it means, what has your industry or your particular organization done to sort of put up some form of a defense against that particular phrase with action? And he couldn't answer the
I'm
question.
sorry, I didn't follow. What? Could you rephrase that?
Yes. So if HR isn't your friend,
Right.
and we're hearing that terminology, we're hearing that phrase, what is it that HR companies are doing today, HR personnel are doing today to make other employees believe and feel as though HR is their friend? They can go to HR for whatever issues they are facing in the workplace without fear of retaliation, without fear of intimidation or fear of termination and anything else in between. What is it that HR personnel are doing today? And he couldn't really answer the question directly. And I had to let him know that HR is a function. They're not
Right.
friends. And I think people, as we are climbing the ladder in whatever industry we choose to work in, we're forgetting that HR is just that. It's a function. And HR was really designed back in 1925, the industrial era.
Okay, that's how you're bringing it back to
There you
that
go.
year.
The
Okay.
industrial area. And it was really designed so they can stop with the labor strikes.
Right.
But here we are in 2025, and we're still trying to pull 1925 era into a 2025 world. It wasn't until over time with psychologists and strategic individuals, and I'm also strategic myself, other individuals decided that, you know what? People are not just factory parts. They're actually people.
Right.
They have a heart, they have a brain,
Yeah.
they have feelings, they have opinions, they have thoughts. And you know what? We can use these thoughts in our workplace in a better way that's not going to impact them so great to where they don't want to show back up to work. We can do it a different way, but I'm not sure they've gotten to that particular part, especially with COVID. COVID showed a lot.
And I guess what you just described kind of makes me think about just the evolution in our thoughts. And
Yes.
maybe it's not the evolution of our thoughts, but the person that is there at the top leading or supposedly leading that function.
That, and then also we're in a different time.
Yeah.
We're in a different world.
Right.
Morals are changed. Moral compasses per person has changed.
Right.
Individuals' ideologies on what the world should be, could be, would be, it's different.
So how do you get a sense? I mean, one of the questions I want to ask you was, you help organizations find their chi, their energy.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work in relation to what you just mentioned?
Well, one, I need to be able to develop a relationship. We have to find commonality, and that's not hard for me to do. But I know a lot of organizational leaders are proud people. They're experts in their field. They're experts in what it is that they do, and I respect that.
Sure.
And I love to learn from that. But also at the same time, are you also respectful enough to put your ego to the side and really get down to the root cause of why your people are leaving or why your surveys are coming back inconclusive or half-truths?
Kind of goes back to common sense, right?
Sort of. Sort of. Because common sense at that level can also be distorted. If you're sitting so high on your stool, or you're sitting so high in your position, and not that it's a bad thing,
Yeah.
but sometimes what happens is that when we become so successful in what it is that we're doing, we forget the struggles of other individuals and what they're dealing with. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a financial struggle.
Of course.
It could be a mental struggle.
Right.
It could be an emotional struggle. Someone's mom just passed away. Are you giving them more than 3 days to grieve?
Yeah. It's
What if they have to travel? Are you going to give them more than 3 days to grieve? Or are you going to do the standard per policy booklet? Which play are you going to use? And so in that particular moment, depending on the individual, which I'm pretty good at figuring out how I need to approach a person or what kind of question I need to ask a person in order to strike up a conversation. Sometimes I don't even have to. I can
Right.
just sit there and I can have a mouthful of food and Somebody will walk up
Yeah.
to me and say something, and I look like a crazy person because I don't want to talk with my mouth full of food. It's like a personal pet peeve of mine, believe it or not. So I'll cover my mouth and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, give me a second. Because your mouth's full of food, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll just
Well, you
have
have
a
that
simple
ability to read people.
I do very
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
very well. And somehow we end up in a conversation around astrology. And that's usually where
Palm reading?
I don't do palm
Okay.
reading. I'm not that
Yeah.
good. I do know some people who do palm reading.
Okay.
Actually, I had someone actually.
Well, I'm
read
sorry.
my palm,
I'm curious. The astrology
Yes.
theme.
Yes,
Continue.
that's a fun one. And so we can just have a conversation and just talk about anything under the sun. And someone can say, oh, well, this is what I do. I'm a CEO of this company, or I'm a vice president of operations for this company. And I said,
Right.
oh, well, I've been called a multi-generational strategic advisor and I bridge gaps between generations and workspaces.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And it's like, oh, okay, well, how do you do it? And I was like, well, it depends. What is your pain point? What are you
What
looking?
is your what?
What are your pain points?
Pain points. Okay.
What keeps you up at night?
Yeah.
Simple as that. Oh, well, a lot of things, because people are smart, right?
Right.
There's some smart people out there. So, a lot of things keep you up at night. And I said, well, if a lot of things keep you up at night, you shouldn't be here.
But then how does astrology play into this?
Well, depends on the level of smartness, because again, there's a lot of smart people out there, right? And so I can also be sarcastic and pretty smart. So I just meet them where they're at. And usually I'll say, oh, well, it's because, Mercury's in retrograde. And usually they know something about that. And for those that don't know, Mercury being in retrograde, Mercury is the planet of communication. That means communication is just wonky. People are not going to understand you. They're going to take things more aggressive or more personal than a normal person would.
So this is beyond just the horoscope.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'll just strike up a conversation like that. Oh, well, Pluto's in retrograde, or Pluto's moved into Aquarius for the next 20 years. So things are going to be different. And it's like, well, tell me more. What do you mean? I was like, well, Pluto is a planet of transformation, and Aquarius people, I call them the mad scientists of the zodiac signs, because they don't think outside the box. They hand you a star and say, figure out the puzzle.
But is that an excuse?
No, that's a genius. That's a thing, because they're a great friends.
I see.
Oh, they're wonderful people to be friends with.
Okay.
Loyalty is just great with them.
Yeah.
So we'll get into something like that. And before you know it, someone says, well, I have a natal chart. And I'm like, ooh, let me take a look. Just out of, curiosity, because something that's curious. And it takes me about a few minutes to go through it pretty quickly. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how you communicate. Oh, okay, well, this is the issue you're having at work. Oh, okay, so this is why you're communicating like this. Oh, that's why you took that so personal. Oh, I'll try not to do that. And it just comes off the top of my head because I've just been studying it forever.
So how does astrology factor into today's workplace, where you have more of an interaction with AI?
Yes. So I actually wrote an article back in June titled "Why Empathy Still Runs the Room."
Right.
And then that article
Runs or rules?
runs
Okay.
the room.
Okay.
And in that article, I actually asked
See the
the
difference,
question.
right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
In that article, I actually asked a question, which was, when was the last time someone's been a physical altercation?
Yep.
And how did AI help you win? Did AI jump? Well, did you win? Because if AI couldn't help you win that and you asked, I don't know, I'd probably look for a different subscription somewhere. I don't know. But empathy still runs the room. And yes, AI is a tool. It is an additional tool to what we are already doing in the workplace. It's not a replacement of people. We still have to have these conversations. We still have to do the job. There's some positions that don't require AI. There's cashiers out there still, and they have those cashless or self-checkouts.
Yeah, yep.
There's so many studies out there about how these organizations are losing money due to theft, because it's so easy to steal.
Right.
And even in places such as the Targets or the grocery stores and things of that nature that has those self-checkouts, they can't stop people at the door from taking things for a safety reason.
Unless Elon Musk and Optimus come into play.
There's that. I've heard of those people. I'm not sure how well that's going to fare, but we'll see.
Well, you mentioned Walmart, which is my next question, and that is, can you talk a lot about this generational not gap, but generational workforces.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, as much as we older folks like to bag on the younger folks about they're lazy, they're this and that, you have an interesting perspective that it's actually the opposite in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
Well, the reason why I think it's opposite in some cases is because I think it's a mix of both.
Okay.
The newer generation, or the younger ones that's in the workplace now, they've watched us for years work and save and go through all sorts of emotional, mental, even physical turmoil as it relates to the workplace.
Right.
They've watched us. They've grown up with us doing that. They don't want to repeat that. They don't want to go and deal with that. But they also we're also in a hot pocket society. Like, we want a hot pocket
They're more
right
aware,
now.
it looks like.
A little bit, yeah. They
Yeah.
are more aware. I say a lot that this younger generation is very good at saying, ouch, this hurts. This hurts.
That's deep.
Please stop.
Yeah.
This hurts. But I'm not so sure they are as good at accepting the part that they play in the situations that may take place. And I think that's in part because of the
What do
other
you mean by that?
generations. So responsibility, right? When we
Yeah.
talk about accountability and we're
Yes.
holding everybody else accountable, we have to hold ourselves accountable as well.
Of course.
That means taking responsibility for the part that we play in every situation, good, bad, and ugly, no matter the outcome. We have to take responsibility for that.
But that comes from direction.
It can. It
And
can
if the
come.
directions are screwed up, then
That is true. That is true. In the workplace, it definitely comes from direction, and it can also come from a job description, but it also can come from taking the initiative.
Sure.
If we take the initiative to speak up and speak out, and we hurt someone else's feelings because how we delivered the message wasn't clear, or how we said the words we said to get our point across was combative or it was offensive, we still have to take responsibility for that.
There's that fear, though. I will speak up and I will get my A handed to me.
Basically, take the chance.
That's
Take the chance.
Okay.
Because if not, it's going to eat you alive.
Agreed. But again, I'm thinking about the perspective of perhaps this person could be young or young at heart, overcoming some challenge or adversity in life. Perhaps it's their internal fear to speak up because of what happened to them in the past. So it's that, I'll just call it a self-limiting belief. So how do you help coach others to say it's okay, take that little step outside your boundaries?
Well, I show them what they've already been doing. They've already been doing it. They've just been doing it in a different way.
Okay.
We always speak out on the things that we want. Maybe those moments that we want them are comforting. Maybe we're speaking out at Starbucks because they forgot to put the cold foam on top of that oatmeal shaken espresso coffee that I love to get.
Never had that drink before.
Oh my goodness, don't do it, but do it. So maybe they forgot to put the sweet cream foam on top. I spoke out on that. Now, of course, that's a more comforting element. That's a more comfortable environment. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt their feelings. They just forgot. And it's a rush. It's early in the morning. Everybody wants coffee. I get it. Some people are tea drinkers. Get that too. No shade
Right.
to the tea drinkers. I drink my tea too.
Chai?
Yeah, why
Okay.
not? But what about the food? The things that that people forget.
Yeah.
If we can speak out there, why can't we speak out to others in the workspace? We have to take the chance. And I just show people that they've been doing it all their lives. And the one thing I always tell people, if you don't remember anything else from me, just remember, it's illegal to eat people. So what's the worst that can happen?
Okay. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I always
don't
tell
have a
people.
comment on our after a follow-up comment to that.
That's what I
Stephany.
always tell people.
But I think a lot of your theme boils down to self-acceptance, though, right?
It does. If
Yeah.
you don't accept who you are and where you are in this current moment in time, you're going to have a hard time with others accepting who you are over time.
And that's difficult for some people because of their
It is.
background, because of their experience.
And also taking responsibility for the parts they play in many experiences, good, bad, and ugly. That's the harder part. Because we can take responsibility for the things that we do bad.
Sure.
We can take responsibility for the things that we do good. But the things that we do ugly, those are the things that we have to look at ourselves in the mirror. We have to be able to face ourselves in the mirror. Can you look at yourself in the mirror? That's the ugly part.
Yeah.
And we all have an ugly story out there, I'm sure.
Every one of us.
Of course.
But it leads to, I mean, what you describe as part of emotional intelligence, no?
It does.
Yeah.
It does, because that's important. We still have to be empathetic with others, but empathetic with ourselves.
Right.
We're only human, and we only have one life, and we have to live it to the fullest, or we don't, and we suffer in silence. But if we suffer in silence, it's going to eventually bubble up like a bottle and
Yeah,
spill out and spill everywhere.
that's true. I mean, everyone has their own individual paths and journey in terms of their level of intelligent quotients,
Hmm.
right? They are who they are, in my opinion. I hate to say that, but I think it's the EQ, that emotional intelligence quotient part, that I think can serve everyone well. They just have to be open to it.
That's self-acceptance in itself.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
accepting a person for who they are is okay. And in order to do that, you have to accept that this is how they are 24/7. They've shown you. The situation may be different, the players may be different, but the energy is the same. Their behavior patterns are the same. They're going to revert back to what they know how to do best. It's their behavior patterns. Those things you
But I
cannot.
think the environment has to change for them to self-reveal itself.
It does when the environment, and it happens all the time.
Right.
When the environment does change, people are left with two options. Either they're going to face that challenge or they're going to go back to what they know is a comfort. And that's where they will not grow. Because
But it's also where value is placed.
true, but
Right?
growth happens outside the comfort zone.
True. Yeah. Hate to say it, yes, that's where it's, sometimes they can be those dark places.
It is. But there's a lot of blessings that happens in those dark places.
But you have to be open to that.
You do. And accepting. And more than that, more than just open
Does it
and
come
accepting.
from, it's hard to internalize it, though, when you're beating yourself up.
Well, you do have to cheer yourself on too.
Right.
Like, I'm my biggest fan. I really am. I am my biggest fan. What I used to do, and sometimes I'll probably still do it from time to time, I would write on my mirror in the bathroom with a Sharpie or an erasable, a marker.
Better
rather.
erasable than Sharpie, 'cause
Right,
it's
right.
permanent.
Right. That's a nice little charge. But I would write on the mirror, I am enough today. Today I did this. Today I did that.
And I think
Today
that's a message
am.
that I think could be internalized by
Yes.
the listening audience.
I am.
Yeah.
I am enough.
Yeah, I am enough.
That's it. Sometimes
So is
just
that part
being-
of the central theme of your book? And I guess, what do readers come away with the book titled Perfect Progression?
They are not alone.
Yeah.
Their story is not unique. I cannot tell you how many people that I come across that I don't know. And I'll just have a random conversation at a grocery store, at a Circle K, anywhere. And I explain the contents, the pieces of the contents without giving the book away,
Sure.
of Perfect Progression. And my characters, Mandy, Candace, Susan, Amory, and I have some male supporting figures in there as well. But I tell them about little contents of the book, and I always have, oh my God, that's my story. Oh my God, that's me. And it can be a guy as well.
Yeah.
And it could be a man, it can be a woman. It's, oh my God, that's my story. That happened to me.
So you've hit on something very universal.
Hmm. And I was so surprised because I pulled those stories from experiences that I've seen, I've experienced myself, and I've heard, but never with individuals I don't know walking into a Circle K to get gas,
Right.
or going into the grocery store because I forgot my grapes or I forgot eggs. And I'm just striking up a conversation with someone. Or I'm in a self-checkout line and there's a VP of another transportation company who I didn't know at the time.
Sure.
And they're telling me their sister went through that, or they've gone through that themselves. And they wish somebody could say something, but they hadn't. And I was like, well, Perfect Progression will be released this year sometime, so stay tuned.
So where does the spirit of gratitude come in?
The spirit of
Podcast
gratitude,
theme, right? With what you just shared.
it comes in knowing that you are still here. I am still here. I'm here. I'm here to tell the story. I don't have to go through the past. We all don't have to relive the past. We don't have to tell our past lives because we've lived it. Now, I didn't say that. The late, great Wayne Dyer did, who I love.
Okay.
But he has a point. We don't have to retell our past. We've lived it. We don't have anything to prove. We're here. And there's so many Stephanies out there. There's so many yogis
Don't
out
have
there.
anything to prove.
No.
Okay.
No. All you have to do is be.
Because that's where the expectations come in.
Yes, but you have to be first. Human beings, not human doings.
Right.
That's Wayne Dyer again. That's not mine. But it's a point. I just be. I am. And I am enough. And I think if people understand that and know that and accept that about themselves, because it goes back to self-acceptance, then they are going to continue to overdo and overwork.
Incredible. Oh, it's no wonder why those 5 degrees come into play here.
Oh, man. And I hadn't even scratched the surface with those yet. Those are going to be fun.
Yeah.
But everything's all in business. But people are still a focal point in business. It's still a huge thing. And people are going to be around. I mean,
Right.
we still have to have emotional intelligence. And we're laying the pathway for future generations. I actually wrote in my article, the last article, I asked questions per the generations, the boomers,
Right.
the Gen X, the millennials, the Gen Alphas, and then for the betas, which are the babies now, I gave them,
Too many Greek symbols.
I know, the betas, I gave them a message to say, learn from our mistakes. Learn from what you're seeing. This is evergreen content. Learn.
So is that the tie-in between the professional versus the home? Again, I'm trying to understand, again, this is amazing content that you shared from a workplace standpoint, but how does it relate to home life?
Because home and work, those lines bleed. Whatever we do at work, we're going to take it home. And whatever we do at home, we're going to bring it to work. And I know there's a time where you leave your personal stuff at home. You don't take it into the workplace. But the reality is someone got some bad news in a meeting and they need to excuse themselves. But they are the chief financial officer.
Right.
And they can't necessarily leave, but they have to leave. So
It becomes harder when you work from home.
A little bit. I love working from home.
Oh, I agree.
Love it.
Yeah.
But I also
it's harder
understand.
to divorce yourself, though, between work life and then, okay, now I'm back to playing the role of a dad or a husband or a son.
Very true. That can be a challenge, but that's where you have to physically leave the room, step outside, go walk in nature, use that 15-minute breaks to step out and go watch mindless TV. Watch like Love and Hip Hop or something.
But that's why scrolling is such an addiction.
True.
Right?
It can be. It can be an addiction.
Because it's an escape at the end of the day. Well, maybe not. I mean, it can be an escape.
I mean,
there's a lot of good information out there.
You know, I play like this mindless game on my phone because I don't have to think. I think all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always strategic in some way, shape, or form, whether it's taking the kids to school and figuring out how to get one to work and pick up the other one in time. I'm always strategic about something and somewhere in the workplace.
Think too much.
You know, but I even have, before I even get to that but part, I even have 14 different poster boards taped on my wall for my thoughts. So I call my room the command center. Whenever I have thoughts and I have
This is beyond a vision board, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, before I fully develop it, I put it on the poster board so I can remember that thought because I know I'm going to go back to it and create something else for it later. And so I know that's a lot of the thinking. I have to get those thoughts out, whether I journal it, whether I write it down on a poster board. Now that I use a Sharpie for.
So is one of these things like a whiteboard?
I have two of those at home too.
A whiteboard wall?
I have those at home too.
Really?
I do because I'm not the only one.
It is a command center.
Yeah.
Good grief.
I'm not the only lady in the house, so I can't remember everything. I am human too. I forget things, and I have a bunch of different calendars that I utilize to the fullest of my abilities. But I do step away. When I turn my phone off, it's off.
Yeah.
If I say do not disturb, I mean that.
So that's how you keep it simple.
I do.
Yeah.
My no means no's. My no's mean no. Let me say that. My no's mean no. My yeses mean yeses. And if I have to think about it and get back to you, then I got to think about it and get back to you. But when I say no, I mean no.
Right.
I can't do it. And not because, aside from not wanting to do it, because there's that too. Let's be honest about that, right?
Yeah.
There's things we don't want to do. And aside from that, I don't have the capacity. And I know that if I do something, I'm going to give it my all. I show up 100%. I don't show up half. I don't show up sometimes. I don't show up maybe. If I put my foot into something, you get the whole thing. I'm going to do it all the way. And I don't stop until it's completed. I'll slow down. I'll pause. I'll wait. I'll see what's going on. I
Yeah.
will ask for your opinion. I'll ask for your input. But you gave me a task and you entrusted me with your business, with your organization, with your people, your
Sure.
culture. I take that serious. So I'm going to give it my best.
I think we can conclude on that note. Again, giving it your best, in spite of the difficulties that our thoughts make us do or not do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Some self-discipline
There you
helps.
go. There you go.
Self-discipline.
Well, Stephany, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. And for the listeners out there, the citizens of Yoga Nation, I like to call, I think, for me, the biggest takeaway was when she mentioned earlier, common sense can be, in a certain degree, misconstrued. That to me was really powerful, because that's something I haven't heard before. So again, just be aware of your surroundings, trust those people that love and support you, and move on. Stephany, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.